The lives of celebrities have always been interesting to the general public. Just look at paparazzis. They've been around for quite some time, and all they do is annoy famous people and follow them everywhere while taking pictures. Nowadays, thanks to all the social media, it's easier to get to see what they're up to. You can follow them on Instagram, Facebook, or X, and see a more private side of their life. They might chat with their followers during live transmissions. Maybe they upload pictures with their loved ones, or share their accomplishments. All of these interactions can make you appreciate those celebrities more than you already did, and thanks to that, you might have a very good image of them. But sometimes, they might not be as good as you think they are. Influence and money can get you far as to commit heinous acts and face no consequences. In this video, I'll show you 6 celebrities and their despicable, dark secrets. A lot of people love Bill Murray. He's a famous actor and comedian who has appeared in movies such as Groundhog Day, Ghostbusters, Stripes, and who can forget Garfield. There's people who admire him. They say he's funny, talented, and apparently treats his fans well. But his wife, well, that's a different story. Because allegedly back in 2007, Bill Murray hit his then wife, Jennifer Butler, in the face. And according to her, he said she was lucky he didn't take her life. She stated that wasn't the first time something like this had happened. They divorced in 2008, and she made several allegations against him, which include physical abuse, abandonment, substance abuse, and infidelity. Because of all of this, she also left with their 4 children and requested a restraining order against him. Several celebrities despise Bill Murray because of his attitude, such as Seth Green, who was hurt by Murray when he was a kid. Richard Dreyfuss said the man is a drunken bully who once threw a heavy glass ashtray to his face, but luckily he missed. Laura Siskin was thrown into a lake during a discussion with Murray. Then he threatened to throw her across the parking lot, and later he broke her sunglasses. Gina Davis said Murray behaved inappropriately during a meeting, attempting to use a massager on her. He was forcing her, and no one in the room tried to stop him. Lucy Liu said while filming Charlie's Angels, Murray started to insult her during a scene. According to her, some of the language was inexcusable and unacceptable, and I was not going to just sit there and take it. So yes, I stood up for myself. Glad to know she did. I mean, how many didn't and just let him mistreat them just because he's a famous Hollywood star? Do you remember Mr. Mosby, the hotel manager from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody? How would you react if I told you that because of him, someone is no longer living among us? It's true. Phill Lewis was driving while intoxicated and fatally struck Isabel Duarte, a nanny from Portugal, in a car crash. He was extremely intoxicated, 3 times the limit for legal intoxication. He was charged with manslaughter and driving while intoxicated. Before his sentence, Lewis looked directly at Duarte's family and said, "There are no words for the pain I go through every day. I want to say I'm sorry to the Duarte family and to my family. There is nothing I can do to change what happened on that night, but if I'm allowed, there is something I can do for the future." In the end, he got to serve 90 days in a county jail, then 90 days in a county's halfway house program, then another 90 days under home detention. The Eagles, a legendary band who created great songs such as Lion Eyes, New Kid in Town, and their most popular song, Hotel California. Tom Henley is one of the founding members of the band, as well as the band's drummer and one of the lead vocalists. He also pursued a solo career. Do you know what else he pursued? underage girls. November 21, 1980, paramedics were called to Henley's house. Once they arrived, they found a naked 16-year-old girl. If that wasn't enough, they also found a 15-year-old girl under the influence of narcotics. According to Henley, they were about to do their deeds, but before that, they used a certain white powder, and that's when the girl OD'd. By the time paramedics arrived, she had already recovered. Don Henley said he only found out the girl's age when the paramedics arrived, as she appeared to be 19 or 20. The paramedics told him not to worry, and while usually they would have taken the girl to the hospital, this time they decided to leave her there and only asked Don Henley to take care of her and make sure she was alright. Next day, the police arrived just as the two women were about to leave. During the trial, he said this incident was a poor decision which I regret to this day, blaming his depression, saying he was just trying to feel better due to the band's recent breakup. When you think about celebrities, the first thing that comes to mind is not a politician for sure. But here we are. Ted Kennedy, lawyer, Massachusetts senator from 1962 until 2009, and the younger brother of John F. Kennedy, was caught in the middle of a shocking incident, the Chappaquiddick incident, July 18, 1969. Ted Kennedy attended a party on Chappaquiddick Island. Mary Jo Kopechne was part of a women's group who worked as political advisors for Robert Kennedy, Ted, and John F. Kennedy's brother. Around 11:15 p.m., Kopechne left the party with Ted Kennedy, and that's the last time they saw her alive. Kennedy drove his vehicle off a bridge, and the car landed on its roof in a pond. Then he proceeded to exit the vehicle, and just like that, he left with Kopechne still in the vehicle. Next day, he informed the authorities about the accident, and that was it. It was just an accident. Or was it? The way these events unfolded is strange, to say the least. You see, some people say this was not an accident. He intended to end her life. Some even think she was pregnant by him. This will explain why he needed to get rid of her. I mean, he was married back then. The thing is, she left with Kennedy out of nowhere and didn't even tell her close friends, leaving her purse and keys behind. According to Kennedy, he just offered her a ride to catch a ferry, and that's it. So, why will she leave her purse and keys behind? Also, John Farrar, who retrieved the body the next day, testified he believed Kopechne stayed alive half an hour in an air pocket. So if Kennedy asked for help at the time, she could have been saved. According to Kennedy, at the time of the accident, when he left the vehicle, he called Kopechne's name and even tried to swim to reach her, but he couldn't. When he left and walked back, there were 4 houses. He could have asked for help, but he didn't. The guests at the party reported when he returned at 2 a.m., he told no one what just happened. He even casually talked to them, and he wasn't the first to report the accident. It was around 8 a.m. when a man and a 15-year-old boy went fishing and saw the submerged car. There's also an inconsistency in Kennedy's story. According to him, this happened around 11:15 p.m., but the part-time deputy sheriff testified that he saw both of them driving around 12:40 a.m. While many people asked for an autopsy, this was never performed. District Attorney Edmund Dennis petitioned for an autopsy of the body, as blood had been found on her long-sleeve blouse and in her mouth and nose, but Kopechne's parents opposed this. Her funeral was held on July 22, 1969. Their parents also received $141,000 from Kennedy's insurance company. And sadly, that's it. Chris Brown, singer and rapper known for his R&B music with hits such as Run It, Kiss Kiss, and Look at Me Now. He started dating Rihanna in 2007, but then he made headlines in 2009 when he was arrested for hitting her. All of this happened while he was driving. For context, he was cheating on Rihanna with a work friend, and what ignited the discussion was that he got a text message from her while driving. So, during the discussion, he choked her, screaming that he was going to take her life. She tried to kick him, but he responded by punching her with a closed fist. Her face was swollen and she was bleeding. But guess what? This wasn't the first time they had a problem, as 3 months before this incident, they had a verbal dispute while they were in Europe. But this escalated when she slapped him and he shoved her into a wall. Years later, in 2013, he and his bodyguard got arrested after they got into an altercation with a man outside of a hotel. He had to enter rehab for anger management. In 2017, her ex-girlfriend, Karuchi Tran, got a restraining order against him. Originally, they split in 2014 when she claimed that Brown threatened to end her life. Now, in 2017, she was being harassed by him and even threatened to shoot her. She also stated the abuse began years ago when he punched her in the stomach twice and pushed her down the stairs. 2 months after that, Brown punched a photographer at a nightclub in Florida. Alright, no one's perfect. I grew up watching The Fast and the Furious, and as a kid, I thought Paul Walker was cool, but he met a tragic fate. Still, that doesn't excuse the things he did. What did he do? Back in 2001, Paul Walker, who was 28 at the time, was dating Brianna Atwell, who was 16 years old. The 12-year age gap might be shocking, but what's even more shocking is this. When Paul Walker passed away in 2013, he was 40 years old. His girlfriend at the time, Jasmine Pilchard-Gosnell, was 23 years old. That's a 17-year age gap. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is that they were dating for 7 years. That means she was 16 at the time they started dating. If you're not familiar with the laws in the US, dating someone underage is not illegal, but the age of consent in the US can be 16 to 18 depending on the state. In California, the state where Paul Walker lived, the age of consent is 18. If Paul Walker and Jasmine were romantically involved, I'm pretty sure they weren't just holding hands the whole time. Celebrities. It doesn't matter if they are politicians or Hollywood stars. What matters is that when you are famous, rich, and have influence over people, they can turn a blind eye to your despicable acts. From dating someone who is 17 years younger than you, to ending someone's life, and still be able to live your life like nothing happened. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you want, you can send disturbing, paranormal, or interesting things to AverageRose@aol.com. Take care. I'll see you soon.